the question for me is more philosophical. It's like, what is music then? Like, what is art? For me, I still think the human ingredient will eventually reign supreme. You're shaking your head at me here. Should I end the call? What's happening, people? Welcome to episode 35 of the Road Podcast. Check me out. I have a t-shirt. I must be legit. You're looking good today. You're looking good today. Well done. Keep it up. If you're new to this podcast, stick with us. Every episode is different, so you don't have to go back to the start. But if you want to, by all means, all my episodes are on audio-based platforms. Some of my episodes are on YouTube. I'm kind of new to this YouTube thing because I'm not good looking enough, but I'm here now. I have a cool studio. Let's go. There's chaos behind me. You're not supposed to see that. But anyway, episode 35, I have a very cool guest, a guy who goes by the name of David, who's the CEO and the founder of a company called Groas. Yes, Groas. And let me tell you why I got him on, because I have zero, and I mean zero brain power when it comes to this stuff. I know nothing about AI agents and how they operate, but this is the stuff we need to learn. So I got this man on to tell me all about his business, all about where it's going to be and where it's going. And then I wanted to talk about where AI currently is and where AI may be going. And yes, I said that in a scary voice on purpose because who the hell knows? Get it all in this episode. It was very cool. Really nice guy. Check it out. We'll have him on again in the future when things are popping off for him. I'm sure they will. Have a good week, my friends. This is the Road Podcast. Let's go. Well, let's get into some of your story and what's happening.
Sure.
But firstly, I think we should just introduce my listeners to you. So you can just tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you've been up to, and where you're going. Just a brief summary, and then I'll elaborate off of that. We'll just go with it.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm David, the founder and CEO of Groas. We are an AI agents platform for Google Ads. Prior to that, I guess I had kind of two lives. One was working as a private equity investor by daytime. And then the evenings, I was scaling my own dropshipping and e-com stores. So it was whilst actually doing the e-com stuff that I started to think about ways that the current Google Ads, ecosystem could be improved. And so then that's when I started to build Groas. And it started off as a very simple, like one feature type of product. It's now evolved into a lot more.
So Groas is your life now at the moment, yeah.
That's right.
But you're the founder of Groas, right? And we'll explain. I'll get you to explain to me what it is in a moment, because my listeners, this isn't primarily a tech-based podcast. It's life stories, crazy, mad stuff. So, but
Sure.
I'm obsessed with where this technology is going. So I wanted to speak to you, which is awesome for me. And I think people will be really interested. But as the founder of Groas, is it your idea, or is it your programming, or is it everything? Like, what part did you play in this?
That's the question. In terms of, I guess, how much time I spent on a computer coding all day, the answer is right now 0. Right?
Wow.
There's a million things I need to be doing that go into actually running this sort of a company. I do have a background in it. So I did start coding when I was quite young, 12 or 13. I studied computer science at university. So I've been around tech a while.
Yeah.
But it's a much better use of money and time to hire people who are even better engineers than me to actually go ahead and build out the product. But if we're talking in terms of what does it mean to be a founder, in this context at least, it was me having spent over the years a lot of money on Google Ads, right, for my own businesses, and thinking, hold on, there's one thing here I'd really like to do, but it's just impossible to do in Google Ads right now, right? And I think if I do this, I'm going to be able to increase the performance of my own campaigns, right? It was as simple as that. So I started to think about, okay, how is this even possibly implemented? How can I go about this? And it sort of slowly grew from there, to now where there's a team of engineers working on this.
Awesome. So the experiences you've had through e-commerce and selling online forced you to come up with this solution as such.
Effectively, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I would say this though. I mean, I feel like when ChatGPT had its big moment when it first came out back in, I think, November 2022,
Yeah.
and that introduced AI, I guess, to the masses, right? Even though it's been something that's been uh, developed and around for a lot longer than that. And I remember thinking at that time, like, there's some very cool companies that can be built right now, but I didn't
Mm,
have anything in mind, right?
yeah.
I, I knew my own stuff, I knew ecom, whatever, but nothing like immediately came to mind. It took like a good 2 years of me just doing completely unrelated stuff to then figure out, oh, hold on, I think we can do something really cool here with grass. And also spending time looking around at the market, right? And looking and saying, oh, is there something that exists like this today? The answer was
Mm,
no. So that's when I realized, all right, we need to go all in on this. And that's kind of the
yeah.
story.
So when you find something like a gap like that, you got to move fast because somebody else is going to get there before you if you don't, huh? That's how it works.
For sure. I mean, for sure. But at the same time, I'm also a big believer that, I think a lot of startups, um, obsess over competition. Um, I don't even look at that ever. Like the
Really?
only thing, yeah, no, literally, I don't even, the only North Star metric that we have at Grass is how are our customer campaigns performing compared to how they were doing before they joined Grass. Like that's literally the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
Um, if we can solve for that, then I think the rest follows. So that's how I view competition. I never really paid too much attention.
Yeah. I suppose if you're producing the results, then you can just focus on that, isn't it? Yeah. Let me just go back to you getting into programming when you were a kid. What were you, 12 or 13?
I think it was 13, 14, I think.
13 or 14.
Yeah.
Jesus. I was like
Yeah.
learned how to operate the microwave when I was 12. So congratulations. I'm playing catch up on the likes of you. I'm like, fuck. Yeah, no, that's cool. It's cool. I mean, if actually we'll get into that in a bit, but so your career path went something like, which is obviously still at its early stages because you're quite young, was did it start with e-commerce online selling stuff, was it?
No, so my first ever business that I ever did, I was 19 at university. So I studied
Yeah.
in London, University in London, studying computer science, whatever. But my first ever business officially, I guess, was I set up a summer camp that would teach um, teenagers how to hack. But like
What?
genuinely, how to genuinely break into machines. And I was charging like £400 a week for that. And it would be me
Brilliant.
just, yeah, it was in a WeWork, and I'd have like a class of 6 or 7 a week, for like 4 hours a day. And I just teach them how to break into machines, but like actually teaching them, not like this, excuse my language,
Yeah.
just bullshit like cybersecurity stuff. Like generally, how can you do this? How can you break into like a Wi-Fi network? How can you do all this? Assuming you have no knowledge of computers. Um, and that was a lot of fun running that. Then finished uni, and then just got a job in private equity pretty quickly after that. I was working in VC a bit as well.
Yeah.
Um, but I also knew whilst it's obviously quite a demanding job, long hours, stress,
Mm,
etc., etc. I always knew that very quickly I had to leave.
really?
And be, yeah, for sure. That was always my plan. I didn't know how or why. So I started experimenting with different things. And then ecom started to basically kind of work. So I did that for a good amount of time. And then once I started with Groas, then it was, all right, we're going to drop everything, ecom, job, whatever. And now we're all in on
Yeah.
this.
Awesome. Well, let's get into Growas then. Let's simplify the service and the solutions that GrowS offers people, and let's give me some applications as to what industries it works in, or does it work in all industries, or yeah, like so. GrowS is an AI agent service, is it? Now, I'm
That's right.
telling you,
That's
some
right.
of my listeners are like, "What the fuck is an AI agent?" So
Yeah, I mean, I think the way I'd explain it is this. So I think most people obviously are, I mean, people use Google every day, right? And then you'll see that sponsored section that comes up at the
Yeah,
top.
yeah.
Those are Google ads, right? And so that's a huge industry, right? I think Google made like 300 or 400 billion dollars last year from just that, right? That sponsored section. So
Mm,
businesses pay Google to basically show up there, right, for their service. Now, um, the I guess the advertising industry, there's kind of three ways that businesses will manage their ads. Okay, one, if it's a small business, or the owner will probably try and manage it themselves, and they have no, maybe they're an expert in let's say selling coffee or coffee,
yeah.
whatever it is. They're not an expert in actually running and scaling Google Ads campaigns. It's a complicated platform. Second option is they go and hire some freelancers. Um, and then again, you have a bunch of issues there around quality, um, like how expensive it is, et cetera, et cetera. And then finally, businesses who are a little bigger will often just hire like an agency, right? And they'll
Mm,
pay an agency like 10, 15, 20K a month, sometimes more, to basically say, look, you're going to manage just the Google ads for us. So those are the three ways that people often manage that. What we're effectively saying with Grass is that you never have to manage Google ads ever again. So you will come in, connect a campaign, and not have to hire anyone for obscene amounts of money or hire anyone internally. You simply connect your campaign and Grass will do all of the work and outperform what a human can possibly do. And it will send you like a weekly or daily report saying, hey, look, this is what we've done. You scale by this amount, you'll increase budget. So that's effectively the proposition, in short.
right. That's sounds seriously promising for people that haven't got time to spend hours trying to figure out the likes of Google ad campaigns and what works and what doesn't, and waste a lot of resources in the process, which you've probably done yourself when you were younger. That sounds pretty killer, man. It really does.
So yeah, I mean, look, that's what we thought, right? We thought small businesses who maybe aren't experts are going to be a good fit for this. But what we're now
Yeah.
seeing is that these agencies, the big agencies who are managing 10, 15, $20 million a month of ad spend, they want to use Grass for the accounts they
Oh,
manage.
wow.
And actually not tell their customers they're using Grass. They want to do it
Of
in
course
secret,
they
which is
won't.
fine with me.
Yeah.
I don't mind. Um, so that's kind of as well we're heading. And why? It's, well, obviously it frees up time internally to be doing other things that are more important. But also more importantly, it's the
Mm,
performance benefit that Grass will generate. So yeah, it's a pretty big, I think, overarching goal, right? That we're saying that you never have to log into your Google Ads account ever again.
yeah.
But I think we're getting there. I mean, it's a long road ahead, but I think we're getting there. We're releasing some new stuff over the next few weeks that will be a big, I think, big leap in that journey.
Awesome. I was on your website the other day. It's sleek. It's a nice website. It's very interactive and it's very welcoming. The color tone, everything's constantly action going on the page. It never sleeps. I like it. I wouldn't be a professional in that, but your page, it looks sleek. So that's a very good start for sure. And oh yeah, the service you're providing, I think it could help a lot of people, as you said, with smaller businesses. That's what it feels like to me. It's certainly something I'll be looking at when I have other operations on the go for sure, because time is money. And if there's
Mm.
somebody else or something else that can do it better, most likely, than us humans can, which is what AI is starting to prove, it's got to be looked at. Let me ask you: is there a way of you protecting the property or the intellectual property of this? Is it,
Yeah,
all right? Uh, do you just have to get a jump on everybody with this idea?
good question. Good question. In the world of software, nothing is
Yeah.
really proprietary, right? If that's just how it works, there will be copycats, 100%.
Mm.
And that's literally any software industry. You see that's always what happens, right? A new category leader emerges, you have like 20, 30 other people trying to do the same thing. I think the only way you can try and differentiate, and I think this applies to anything in general in business, is branding. Having good
Yeah.
branding. What do people say about your company behind closed doors? Um, like, you know what I mean? Like that is the most important thing, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and just ultimately providing value. If you can provide value, I think generally the rest follows. But yeah, the short answer is in the world of software, nothing is truly
Yeah.
proprietary.
What we want, right, in like 3 years' time is for people to be using the term, oh, just grow asset. Just grow asset.
That's right.
That's what you need. You need do you know what I mean? That's where we
Yep,
need to get you.
that's right.
And you just need to be the number, just like you, obviously not on the scale of Google, but just like the way people say just Google it,
Exactly.
grow asset, it just has to be, that's the one we use. It's proven. Bam.
Yep.
And in Ireland anyway, where I'm living, the artificial intelligence movement, it's only the people that are forward thinking are really getting into this stuff now. The general population know what ChatGPT is, and that's about it. And
Mm.
I'm of the mind that if you don't get with this now, you're going to get absolutely left behind. Yeah. And from a business perspective, I think people should be looking into using services like yours for sure. For sure.
Yep.
Well, obviously, it seems to be doing quite well for you to date, though, does it?
So, I mean, yes, I think I need to be hiring more because right now I'm basically flat out.
Yeah.
I think but hiring good talent, I think, is definitely a big bottleneck. Hiring good engineers
Yeah.
was really. So I made a new hire like 3 weeks ago. I posted the job on a couple sites. Got about 5,000 applications in like a week. Okay.
Oof.
Um, but then I actually manually filtered through every single one. I genuinely took the time to do that.
Really?
Yeah, I did. And then I interviewed, I think between 50 and 75, but like really quickly in the space of like a week, right? Because
Yeah.
I always try and move quickly. And the worst thing is, from those interviews, I would say maybe only 3 or 4 were like people that could have been hired. So I
Oh,
think the finding good talent that corresponds to what you want is really hard.
yeah.
I think I got lucky on this one, but it's generally, I think, quite a hard thing to do, especially when you're in a startup environment and every hire you make at this early stage can have a pretty big impact on the trajectory of the company, right?
Of
One bad
course.
hire now can really mess things up. So I think right now that's definitely been the main bottleneck rather than trying to get new business or whatever.
Yeah. So you're still kind of holding the reins on this yourself, are you? Yeah.
That's right.
It must be,
That's right.
it's hard to let go. I'd say it's hard to let go, is it?
So I think typically what you see AI companies or software companies typically they'll go and raise funding, right? That's their goal. Their goal is to go and
Yeah.
raise venture capital funding. Now, I used to work in that industry. I have a
Mm.
lot of personal friends who are in that industry today, and he said, "Oh, please take some funding." Right. The issue is, so like I've been very stubborn, basically from day zero, to not do that and keep 100% in control. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I've been very stubborn. Now there's pros and cons, but I think the big pro is complete freedom, right? I can do what
Yeah.
I want when I want. I can hire who I want. I can be where I want. I can set the office strategy however I want. We're fully remote. Like when you bring in investors and that sort of thing, you lose control of your own company.
Mm.
And that's something I was very cognizant of. And I think now, especially, we've done like the 0 to 1 part. We don't need that funding, right? Because we now have something that's working and
Yeah.
scaling. Like there
Yeah.
is no point necessarily in raising extra funding. I think it would be, yeah. So that's my view on that.
Yeah. It's like at this stage, it's a proven model now. So you don't, the risk isn't there for you now. The risk would be to take
Exactly.
investment and lose control and get manipulated. And yeah, oh, dude, I've seen it.
That's
I
right.
haven't seen it in your industry, but I've seen it in music and I've
Yep.
seen it in other things, and it's nasty. You fall out of love with it, then is what happens, and you just go,
I
fuck.
agree.
Yeah. So
I agree.
respect to you for sticking with your visual, with the where you want to go with this, and taking it on your own journey. And I know it's going to be hard for you, as you said, with your trying to hire the right people, and one error can send you off this way then. So I get that, but I think you're doing the right stuff. I really do. It's awesome.
Hopefully, yeah. Thank you.
Um, so as I was saying, right, I don't think people here in Ireland fully comprehend where we're going to be with large language models and
Mhm.
AI and Gemini and ChatGPT and all that. I don't think they fully comprehend how much it's going to ingrain its way into their life and society and
Mm.
technology and how we use it. And I don't know when it's going to just become the norm that everyone uses this, but for me, it's like I'm on ChatGPT, right? I don't know if it's the best AI model to use for daily stuff, but what I have noticed is I'm kind of married to it now, in the sense that it knows everything. It knows how I like things. It knows the style I want. It knows what I'm looking for before I fully type it in. So I think that's going to be the power in AI, is the retention. I don't think I could ever change, say, to whatever Gemini now for all
Hmm.
the stuff I use. Did you ever look at it like that? I feel like I'm married to it now.
I mean, Sam Altman must be very happy right now hearing this from you.
I'm sure he's listening.
I would say, from my experience, again, you're right. I use this stuff daily. From
Mm,
my experience, different models are good for different things.
yeah,
Simple as that.
okay.
So I would say, for example, Claude from Anthropic is really good at writing and sounding like a human when it writes. So if I've got like a long email to write or something like that,
Yeah,
I'll ping it through Claude and it'll come back with good amendments and I'll use it. So for writing, it's really good.
I'm going to take
Um,
these names off you, just
no,
for
for
my
sure.
own sake. Yeah.
For sure. I think Chat GPT, especially with what they've done recently, and again, this is just my perspective because I use
No,
this daily.
yeah,
Chat GPT is really good at like, if you have a complex problem, it will dumb down the information. Its output will be dumbed down really well. So it's
yeah.
like understandable. So I really like using it when I have this annoying complex task. It will come back with like really broken down steps. So it's really good for
Mm,
that. Then you got Gemini from Google. I use Gemini when I have like a huge data set to upload. I've got a very big data set or a very complex question that needs to like take into account a lot of data. Gemini is the best because it has the biggest context length of any of the models.
right.
Because Google has the most compute than any of the AI companies, which most people don't realize. So that's why basically they can give you like more in-depth answers. If you have some
Mm,
crazy data set, Google can basically search it better, I think, at least from my experience. And then finally, I think you got Grok from
X.
Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah, X Musk. Um, I like to use it when I have queries that maybe some of the other models won't want to respond to. Like more niche things, right? It's like, oh no, we
Yeah.
can't do this. It's against our guidelines. Grok, like there's ways around it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I like using it for that. And then obviously you have Perplexity, um, which is it now? It's kind of like a combination of different things, right? It's trying to position itself more as like a Google search on steroids. I think is more like
Is it?
the sort of branding that they're going for. Um, they're good as well. I think they're really good as well for like more in-depth research sort of topics. I use them a lot less. Um, but yeah, they're also good. So that's how I break them down
Wow.
personally.
So I need to put all these applications on my phone, really. So telling me,
Try it.
yeah, I may, because I kind of fell down the hole of just using ChatGPT for nearly everything. There's some things it's really bad at, and then there's some things it's quite good at, you know?
But yeah, as well. And we definitely see that in, for example, software engineering, right? So software engineers today literally rely on these models to write code. At least the good ones do. Those
Yeah.
are up to date. And it means that you can have one engineer today do the work of what 5 or 10 had
Mm,
to do like 5 years ago, right? Um, so they also have their place there, and there's also some that work better. I think Sonnet as well by Claude seems to work really well for software engineering. I guess it's a form of writing, which kind of makes sense.
mm,
But yeah, they
yeah.
definitely each have their own strengths for sure.
Right, I've got a bit of homework to do. But another interesting thing I found myself doing lately is, instead of Googling information to find something out, I'm now going on to ChatGPT and doing it. So, from a marketing perspective, how the hell do the likes of you or
Yeah.
me get into the answers section on a ChatGPT or a Gemini or a, well, maybe Gemini might be
Oh,
more
okay.
straightforward. You know what I'm saying? So if
That's a great question.
somebody's looking up
Yeah,
a
yeah.
personal trainer, or how could I find a coach, or whatever it may be. How do you get into the answers on, or is there a way to get
Yeah.
into the suggestions, or
Of course there is. Of course
really?
there is, but at the same time, it's not deterministic. You can ask the same question 10 times and it will give you slightly different answers possibly,
Yeah.
depending on the question every time. Also depends on the model, et cetera, et cetera. I'm in a decent place to talk about this, but I'm also not going to give away too much.
No, I respect that.
80%, the reason is 80% to 90% of all of our customers today come from LLMs recommending Groas. So people will search up, what is the best Google Ads tool for this?
Yeah.
Groas is number one. So they sign up because they trust the LLM. 80 to 90% of all our signups are coming. Actually, yes, probably the other signups coming from customers who bring other customers, which is obviously great. It's what you want. It's probably 80-20. We are still not doing anything on paid ads. And there's reasons for this. I can go into a few if you want now.
Yeah.
What LLMs look at mainly, there's a lot of data sources they pull from, right? They try and scan the whole internet to basically give the best answer. A big, something that LLMs will say prioritize in their answers is what people are saying about your product or service on forums. So things like a Reddit, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If someone on Reddit says, hey, I use Grass and it was amazing, loved it, and it looks legit, and the LLM looks at it and says, yeah, this looks pretty legit, it will surface that and say, look, actually, yeah, you should probably look at Grass, and it will say that in its answer. So that's one of the things that it will do. Then it also takes into account things like your site authority. So every single website on earth has like this background score called basically domain authority, which is Google's way of saying how authoritative is a particular site around a certain topic, right? So Groas probably has good authority around at this point on the topic of Google Ads, but we wouldn't have any authority on maybe Facebook ads right now. So that's another factor that comes into play. But yeah, it's a complicated question. I mean, there are many companies right now being started around that very topic, around how can you get your company to rank organically on these LLM responses. There's
And
many.
you've already gotten it up there.
I think so. I mean, I think we're doing quite well on that front, clearly, because all our signups are basically from LLMs
That's
recommending
crazy.
Grass, which is great. It's great.
Yeah, it's free marketing, man. Free advertising. Is there a point where you won't be able to? Is Groas self-sufficient? Is it doing its own thing in the background with regards to clients, or is there a number where it's going to be like, all right, we can't take any more?
Good question. Good question.
Yeah.
Good question. So, well, the short answer is obviously no, because it's a software, right? And software can effectively scale to an infinite level, right? Obviously, our compute costs are going to get bigger and bigger. So that's one of our big expenses. Is the compute to power what we do is very expensive. Like,
really,
believe me, yes, because we're doing a lot of things. The only way, and this is actually one of the big things I'm hiring for right now, is for the bigger customers. So if someone's going to bring, let's say, 6 figures or 7 figures a month of ad spend, dump that on Groas today, tomorrow. There has to be, I think, at that level, a bit of like a customer relationship, right? There has to be someone within Groas who's like guiding them, letting them know, oh, by the way, I would maybe not do this. Your campaigns broadly are looking like this. And you might think that's an easy job to hire for. It's not, actually. It's hard because it requires a lot of different sorts of skills. But I think that actually is right now a bottleneck for us. We need to hire more like account managers effectively for these really big spenders. But the smaller spenders, it's completely self-sufficient and can scale to infinity.
So what is the skill set required to be a good account manager for Groas?
Good question.
Let's put your job applications on the fucking video.
That's a good question. I mean, look, so one thing I think we're definitely looking for is a good amount of experience running Google Ads in the past, right? Ideally, probably at a big agency, so you've managed big budgets.
Yes.
If you ran Google Ads for yourself at a small business and only spending, let's say, 50K a month on Google Ads, you simply can't relate to what happens in an account that's spending 7 figures a month. And that's the sort of things that we're now starting to close even more. So yeah, I think that's number one. Do you have that experience? Then two, I think the soft element, right, is probably the most important thing. And that's hard to know just in a couple interviews, right?
Yeah.
You don't know how someone, like, are they going to give our customer the right level? Are they going to be there like 24/7, like I am or other people are right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's tricky.
Campaigns don't stop on weekends. People don't just pause a campaign on Saturday and Sunday. Business continues, right? And if something goes wrong, you need to be there immediately. to help them out. So it's things like that, right? Like dedication, which sound like kind of like bullshit words, but it
No.
matters.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I would say those two things. You need someone who's like really switched on, really smart, and has ran. And also, actually, the breadth of experience that they have of running ads, because our customer base is unbelievably diverse. Unbelievably
Yeah.
diverse. We have like big enterprises in the US, tiny tire shops based in Japan. Like it's
Really?
very diverse. Yeah, it's
That's
very
so
all
cool.
countries is very diverse. And so, if let's say you've only ran Google Ads for like health supplement ecom brands, you're going to know health supplement ecom brands really well, but will you know other industries? Probably not.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say
You
that's another thing that I'm
you gotta
looking for
have
as
a
well.
fairly universal skill set when it comes to that. Like,
Correct. Which, unfortunately, I really now have developed that skill set because I've been right, and
yeah,
that's not my goal. But at this point, I've developed that skill set really well. So there's also, I think, there'll be a learning curve regardless of where they come from.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So
Oh, you'll get there. You'll get there. I'm sure.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Um, we should. I should probably get a brief explanation from you as to how Groas works. From what I gather, it adapts, say, my landing page to match what somebody is searching. Am I correct?
That's right.
Yeah, is that how
No,
it
no.
works? So it
So
makes
what that
my landing page constantly change as such.
So that was the first feature I spoke about earlier when I was building Grass. That's the first feature of Grass. Like it's a very, that in itself is not really a real product. What we have today is a lot more advanced and it's doing a million other things. But
Okay.
that thing about the dynamic landing page is correct. That's the first thing I was
Yeah.
trying to solve for. I used to have one of my brands, quite funny, was a manscaping brand, right? So,
Okay. Yeah.
right. Um, and what I found, and actually it was that brand, by the way, that actually gave me the idea for Grass. I'd run a lot of different things, but it was
But
running
it was
that
that one.
that store that gave, and I'll explain why in a second. So it was obviously for saving, for men shaving their nutsack. Great. Um, what I saw is that people were approaching, uh, people were coming to the landing page and buying the product from a whole variety of different angles. You had some people actually looking for an arm hair trimmer, and then
Mm,
they eventually landed on the product and said, yeah, this will do for arm hair. You had some people searching for chest hair trimmer and then say, all right, fine, this will do probably for my needs. And then you had some girlfriends buying it for their boyfriends, right? And so I was seeing all of this data in Google Ads and thinking, this is interesting. What if I could adapt the landing page to match that, right?
yeah.
So the first feature effectively is if someone is searching for arm hair trimmer, then we swap out, you take your existing landing page. We're not inventing anything new. It's where you're currently sending the traffic to, like a product page, a homepage, whatever. And we swap out all of the text on
Yeah.
that page to match the search intent. So now someone searches arm hair trimmer, everything there speaks about how it's the best thing on earth for shaving arm hair, right? What's the purpose of that? The short answer is it increases the conversion rate. The likelihood
Mm,
that they're going to convert now goes up, right? Because you're matching it to the search intent. The other thing as well, by the way, so the step before that, when they actually see your ad, another thing we do is create the ad copy to match the search intent. So now if they search up arm hair trimmer in Google, the result that pops up, all of the headlines and descriptions in that result you see are going to be all about arm hair trimming. Same
yeah.
principle applies for leg hair trimming. So the idea is you have that flow, basically, that funnel of arm hair trimmer and arm hair trimmer ads appears. And then when it goes to the landing page, everything on there speaks to that need. So that was, I guess, the genesis. Now it's a lot more than that, by the way. We can go into that if you want, but yeah.
Yeah. Sure. It
Okay.
makes so much fucking
Yeah,
sense when you say it, though, doesn't it? You're just like, how
that's
come
right.
this hasn't been done before? I
That's
suppose
right.
without AI, yeah. Well, here, respect you got on it, and the product is evolving now.
Now it's a lot more than that. So just
Yeah.
to give you some context, it was all built basically around that feature to start. I was like, can I get this to work? Can I integrate it with Google Ads? Will people want to use this? Right? I obviously thought they would, but I didn't have any customers to start with. Will people possibly want to use this? Started off really simple. And actually, at first, it started off, we couldn't even get, the tech wasn't there to basically integrate with existing campaigns. We had customers like create separate campaigns. We call them Groas something. And then what quickly happened is they saw that the Groas campaigns were beating their old ones. So they just put more budget into the Groas ones and whatever. But it started off like really primitive. The UI was very different. And then it evolved into a lot more than that. We're doing a lot more stuff around the ad copy stuff. Okay. Integrating with the campaigns, et cetera, et cetera. And now where we're headed, so now what we're releasing now to all customers in probably the next 2 weeks, I think, is a fundamentally different proposition where before people were actually using the app, right? So we had big spenders who know what they're doing. They come in and say,
Yeah.
oh, this is great. Performance are going up. I'm happy. But they'd have to log in and use the app, whatever. It was actually the small business owners, right, who gave us the best product ideas because they were saying, it's great, but I don't want to use this. I literally
Yeah.
can't be bothered to even look at this. And I was like, you know what? They're right. So now where we're headed is effectively, you will never have to log into Grass again. That's what I'm trying to do. Grass will now take every single action. So any action that a human takes, typically when managing an ad campaign, adding new keywords, removing keywords, like pausing ad groups, creating new ad, all that stuff is now going to be completely done by Grass.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll stop talking. I can go on for ages, but yeah.
No, I mean, it's very interesting to me. It's like you just press play and you just walk away as such from a,
Correct.
and you just put a stop. Is this like a subscription based service?
Correct.
Yeah, like
Correct.
monthly or something.
That's right. So the way it works is we price based on ad spend. Okay.
Yeah.
If it's, let's say you create a campaign with Grass, blah blah blah, and then let's say at month 3 you want to pause the subscription to Grass, you can still keep that campaign running, but it just won't have any of the dynamic landing pages, the
Yeah.
Groas automations, whatever. So the campaign can still technically run, right? We're not just going to delete a campaign if someone pauses a subscription. That would be quite unfair. But yeah, that's how it works. It's monthly subscription. What typically happens though is, and this is why I tell people, sometimes I'll get on a demo with a customer. Maybe they're spending whatever, prospective customer, sorry. They're already spending 6 figures a month. And they say, yeah, this looks great, but I'm not sure. I say, no worries. Like, yeah, I'm not here to convince anyone. What probably best to do is you sign up to like the very small plan, the base plan, right? Tier 1, and you test it with a very small budget. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
You should test it at a small budget, small campaign. And see how you like it. That's what I say. And what typically happens is that campaign goes well, so they increase budget, and then they just scale up with Grass. So that's kind of how I see it.
What is there metrics on how Groas has improved over a regular Google ad
Good
campaign?
question.
Is there a metric, like a rough range?
That's a good question. So we're going to basically be open sourcing and publishing all of this on our website. So what we're looking to do is gamify the whole experience and anonymize people's brands, anonymize whatever, but just show basically Groas managed campaigns versus non-Groas managed campaigns, and then compare the results. Ultimately, when it comes to ads, the number one metric, the only thing that matters is a term called ROAS, which is return on ad spend. There's a million other things you can look at, but ultimately that's the only true decider as to whether you're running a successful ad campaign, I think. So that's the very simple way that people typically decide, is Groas doing better than I could do before?
So Groas name was born out of the term ROAS, obviously.
Yes, and also it's a play on words actually. It's ROAS. That's kind of the thing.
Yes.
And also G for Google. I knew like I'd be tackling Google first.
Makes sense.
But yeah, that's
I
where it
like
comes
it.
from.
It's
Exactly.
clever. It sticks with you too. It makes sense. Let me be selfish.
Sure.
As from this little side game of mine, podcasting and storytelling and whatnot, I'm still learning this. I'm nearly a year doing this now, so it's
Yep.
going well. Should I have a website? And should I have a website that I try and get on landing pages from a content creator or podcaster angle? Do you think there's a benefit to the likes of me having a website? It's not something I ever considered.
No, definitely have a website.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd want to run Google ads to it necessarily, unless you have
Yeah.
something specific to sell. It could be
Yeah, which I
sponsorships,
don't.
it could be whatever.
Yeah.
but definitely have a website, right? Like
Really?
with your, yeah, for sure. With your name, contact form, how people can find you, all that stuff.
Mm.
100%. Because also, there's also many like podcast recruiting companies, right? There's people who match, I've seen these companies pop up. There's people who match like CEOs, founders, whatever, with these podcasts, right?
Yes.
And typically they'll just like scour the internet for these sorts of websites as well, not just like the recommendation podcast feed. So I would say
Okay.
yes.
All right. I'll do it. I'll do it. No, it makes sense. It's not that hard anyway. It's not that hard. I should do it. Um, I actually have a meeting on Monday with some guy, one of these guys you're talking about. He's like a middleman who has a network of
Nice.
guests. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he's some American guy. We'll see what happens. I probably shouldn't be saying
Nice.
that on the recording. He's like, you just called me an American guy. But anyway, we'll see. Yeah. I think we touched on it earlier, but I do have a few people that follow me that are like content creators and whatnot. What AI tools would you recommend that they use on the daily, like just to sharpen up their game and operate quickly and stuff like that? You know, I know it's a constantly evolving landscape, but
It's tough to say
yeah,
because I mean, obviously it depends. Like, what do they want to achieve exactly, right?
yes,
Um, One thing we're seeing a lot and it's quite scary are OpenAI released the Sora model. I don't know if you have a look at that.
yeah, dude. Oh, I'm not sure how I feel about this stuff.
Right. No,
Yeah,
yeah, neither do I. Um, I think it's quite scary. I don't know. The short answer is it completely depends what they're trying to do, right? I mean,
yeah.
we'll get to a stage, I think, quite soon where basically you can generate good content uh, through these models, I reckon, right? So it
Mm,
kind of puts into question uh, typical, like a UGC content creator, right? Like when I
yeah.
was doing ecom, I had to hire um, people to like review the product and I would run an ad, right? So I would hire this uh, guy or girl and say, oh, this is the best shaver ever. And they do a little video and I'd pay them. Um,
Okay, yeah.
right. And then I'd run the ads would basically be showing that review. Great. This is called UGC, big thing in ecom. But these UGC creators will charge an arm and a leg for a 15-second video of them saying, oh, this is the greatest shaver I've ever seen in my life. It's insane. Now you can generate that uh, with one of these LLM models for like $0.01 very
Yeah,
quickly and get just as
yeah.
good results. And so a lot of ecom brands are doing that right now.
Really? Oh, man.
Yes.
It's the
Yes.
world is changing so quickly, isn't it?
Yep.
It really is. Um, it's going to be hard to figure out what's real and what's not soon enough.
Impossible,
Yeah. I,
I think.
it's very, I speak about this myself a lot. I'm like, let's just get into, the arts with AI, all right? Like, let's, yeah, I know. So this is a big one. Do you listen to music much?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah.
How do you feel about AI generated music?
Yeah. Look, I
This is
think,
a weird
yeah,
topic for me. Yeah,
yeah, no, yeah, it's at human level, right? Like I
yeah.
don't. If you show me two, I wouldn't be able to tell right
I
now,
know, I know. It's
right?
like all the time over the years I've spent making music, like hours and hours, and I still do.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like money, like pumping money into studio sessions, and then someone can
brutal.
just go online and just crucify me in
Yep,
3 minutes.
absolutely.
So my question is like, the question for me is more philosophical. It's like, what is music then? Like, what is art? Uh, for me, I still think the human ingredient will eventually reign supreme. You're shaking your head at me here. Should I end the call? uh, I
Yeah,
don't
and
mean
look,
from a quality perspective. I mean from almost an emotional attachment to the art itself. I think that is a strength and an important factor in art is the context behind it. And he wrote this when he was in this moment, or the artist painted this picture after their wife died. And context is something that I don't know if AI can ever generate.
Okay, so I
I'm
think you're
speaking
no, no,
to somebody with more experience in this realm than me. So
no, but you do raise a very good point, which is like that human thing is still special. The example is actually chess. Hu- Uh, Humans started losing to computers in chess like
yeah,
15, 20 years ago, like when the whole Castro thing, even before that. Now, uh, chess computers are completely unplayable, like completely. Like the
yeah,
number one chess player in the world, Magnus Carlsen, gets demolished by the best chess engine in the world, right? And the gap will probably continue to widen, but people still play chess. There are still chess tournaments, and we still have a chess world champion every year. Um, so maybe there's hope, right? Maybe there's
yeah.
hope.
That's a good
Uh,
point. It's a good point.
Maybe there's hope, but I think in terms of things that uh, I don't want to sound too pessimistic, but things that drive economic value. For let's software engineering. Let's not go into music
Yeah.
because I don't offend you. But
You
if I
won't
say anything,
offend me.
no, no,
You would
but
not offend me.
I would say like, yeah, I mean, anything I think that drives economic value, right? Like software engineers is a
Yeah,
good example. They write code for a living. In 5 years' time, I don't know what a software engineer looks like anymore. I don't know.
yeah.
It used to be 10 years ago, go study computer science. It's a safe job. It'll always be around. It's a high paying job, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, and that I just don't think
Mm,
it's just no longer the case. It's looking really bleak. And you can already see today the impacts of it in the labor market. Junior engineers are no longer getting hired. You still have the senior engineers who are doing the harder work, but junior engineers are no longer getting
yeah,
hired.
yeah.
So I think it's potentially quite scary.
it is, isn't it? I had a like an analogy in my mind the other day when I was thinking about this, and it's like there's a fucking massive tidal wave coming, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's just sitting on the beach drinking margaritas, going not noticing what's about to happen. I feel like when I talk to people about this, they think I'm a bit crazy, but
So yeah, I agree with you. There's massive tidal wave, obviously. My general consensus is that I'm quite scared personally in the future. I'm not here like relaxing. I'm quite scared for sure for what it
yeah,
means for society as a whole, 100%. But there's also an opposing force, I think, and that's the government. Uh, they ultimately can try and I think they will at some point. They already have their hands in it somehow, right? We see this in the US. So if things get too crazy, I'm sure they will somehow step in
mm,
and try and do something. But at the same time, there's another opposing force, which is obviously it's also an AI arms race against China, right,
this is
and a
the
few other
thing.
countries. So
Yeah,
we can't just stop and hold it and say, oh look, what impact is it going to have on our society? And China will get there before us, and then so yeah. So yeah, I think the short answer is it's very uncertain times. It's very uncertain times.
I like how you termed it though. It is the new arms race.
Yeah,
It is, isn't it?
100%.
And you can't stop. You're right, because if you stop, then you just it's worse to nearly stop. We're in the
Probably. Yeah,
game now. We're in the
yeah,
game. So yeah, it's people, including myself and yourself. Everybody's going to have to adapt to this. We're going to have to try and forecast where it's going to go and adapt.
yeah.
But I'm not a pessimist, but I do like dystopian stories and whatnot. Like,
Uh-huh.
what's the employment rate looking like in 5 years in your
Yeah,
mind?
yeah, yeah. Good question.
Good, bad question.
It's a big question. I don't know. I think yeah, it's interesting. So Sam Altman, who we referenced before, he wrote way before he made his breakthrough in AI, this paper, this blog post rather. This was in 2017 on his vision of a post AI world, where basically the government provides universal basic income to all people, and you have AI and AI robots doing all of the jobs. And he said this way before like where we're at today.
Yeah,
This was in 2017, 2018. Um, I don't see that as impossible anymore. When I first read it, I actually read it like when it was pretty fresh, and I was thinking, nah, it's not possible, surely, right? Now I see it, and I'm like, yeah, this could very conceivably happen.
mm,
Um, and obviously the way he spins it is like, yeah, humans get to enjoy complete abundance and all of that.
yeah.
But obviously he's the overlord controlling the machine and with all of the wealth. So of course he's going to say that, right? Um, Yeah, we'll have to see. I think it's uncertain times. I can't make like exact predictions on employment. I also think it's very sector specific, right? Because software engineering already, like the effects are pretty apparent in my mind,
Yeah.
especially on the junior side, because you have AI who can do the job of juniors better, probably, right, and quicker. Um, but there are other sectors that may not really be affected, I think, at all, right? At least in the short to medium term of 5, 10 years.
Mm,
I always said that the example of being a plumber, right?
yeah.
A robo plumber is not going to show up anytime soon. So, yeah, that's how I'd probably answer that.
So if you're 16 and you're in school,
Mm.
where would be the best place for a kid like at that age to start applying their energy or studying, or what sector should they really look towards getting into now? It's, as you said, it's to be a computer engineer when I was in school would have been like elite. That's what you want to do, and now the
Mm.
game is totally flipped on its head. So yeah, maybe it is more physical based work and skill based work that is going to be more prevalent
Yeah,
now in the future.
agreed. But you raised a good point there. I think it's a great question. Me personally, right, if I can go back right now, if I was 16 right now, with I guess the wisdom of now just recently turning 26, if you can call it wisdom, um, is the highest leverage thing you can do, I think, today is having an online personal brand. That
Okay.
is a very high leverage thing to do. Let's say you want to go into plumbing. I think it would be a great thing to do to open up Instagram and start talking about plumbing.
Yeah.
Um, because then there'll be a way of monetizing that eventually, right? Either getting more customers or setting up like an academy around it or whatever, whatever. And I think the earlier you start trying to do that, the better.
Mm,
Um,
that's very
that would actually that'd be my best advice. Yeah.
yeah, sorry to cut you off there. My bad. That sounds like very Gary Vaynerchuk. Do you know Gary Vaynerchuk? Get on TikTok, post 78 times a day. Fuck.
I,
Yeah, I like Gary Vaynerchuk.
it's funny. I don't watch him at all. But I think he's probably right in this case. I think he's probably right. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
having a personal brand. I mean, he's made a fortune off his personal brand, right? I think he was doing okay before, but he's
Yeah.
definitely done very well off it. And we see a lot of examples like that. But it's not even just like to like sell your own courses or whatever it is. I think
No, no.
having a personal brand, yeah, I think it'll be used like you want to set up like another sort of business. You now have an entire audience of people who trust you that you can tap into.
Yeah.
Um, that's valuable.
I,
I think that's
I,
valuable.
I'll give you a cool example, actually. I work in the motor trade, like for BMW,
Mhm.
and there's like 4 or 5 salesmen, and
Yeah.
most of them would be, let's say, between 40 and 55. And then there's
Hmm.
one kid who's like 21, and he's
Hmm.
TikToking all the time, um, under like, look at this feature in the new 3 Series. Check this out, doing all these little videos. He gets so many likes and follows, and
Mm.
everybody else is just sitting at their desk. And I keep saying to that kid, I said, you keep doing that, because when someone goes to look for a BMW, they're going to think, oh, that kid on TikTok is funny. I'm going
Yeah.
to go and talk to him. And eventually there
100%.
will be an ROI for him for sure. I've no doubt about it. So
100%.
I think you're correct with your
Yeah.
analogy about creating a personal brand. I think that's the future.
Agreed.
Mm.
Agreed.
So that is the number one advice, I think, for some young kids coming
Probably. I
through.
mean, don't get too sucked into it either, right? Because you can
Yeah.
also, yeah, you don't want to get too sucked in. But I think if you're doing it with a bit of like an end goal in mind and you're, what's the word I'm looking for? Not cautious, but like you're considerate with what you upload there. Like, don't, yeah. I think then
Mm.
it's a super valuable thing to have. It's going to be even more valuable, like going forward, especially in the age of AI. Um, it's going to be more and more valuable without a doubt.
I feel like the world is shifting at the quickest rate in my lifetime I've ever seen from a technology and software perspective. I feel like there's something new every day. I'm like, oh, I need to find out what this is. It's nuts. How do you how do you stay on top of this? You just gotta, like, I know because you're just in it, you're just gonna know it all. But I mean, is there a place to go to keep up to date on all these AI adaptations and developments? Is there like a cool website, or is there somebody blogging, or is there someone to follow? Or
So it depends what you're after. I think if you want like more like technical, deep breakdowns of like, oh, this new model is so much better because of X reasons,
yes,
then there's definitely some really good content creators for that on YouTube, actually, which I used to watch more, especially when I had more time. Um, at least for me, where I today get most of my information, if we're talking about tools, software, service, whatever,
mm,
like what's actually happening, right? What companies are doing, it's Twitter, it's X for me.
really,
Um, that's where I get it, because that's typically things will happen on X, and then you might see them on LinkedIn later or whatever. But on X, it's always quite funny, and that's where people like you'll get the inside scoop generally before I think it hits other platforms. Um, because also you have like founders of big companies on there who are just speaking their mind and speaking freely, right? They're not doing that on
yeah,
Instagram
or LinkedIn,
or on Facebook, exactly.
yeah.
Um, so I would say X for me is typically, if I'm scrolling and wasting time sometimes during the day, that's where I'll be.
All right, I must start doing that. I kind of use X for other stuff, so I must start checking people out on X,
For
because
sure.
yeah, you may as well be learn something while you're doom scrolling. Must pick something up
Exactly.
out of it. Yeah,
Exactly.
we are sucked into our phones nowadays. There's no doubt about it. But
100%.
yeah, this I'm learning from you here through this podcast. Uh, I told you I'm a selfish motherfucker. This is what I do. But where are you gonna go with Groas? It's just gonna keep getting expanding its service, or is there an end game with Groas? Do you know what's gonna happen?
Good question. There's definitely a few things in the pipeline, product wise, right? Uh, I definitely genuinely live day by day. Like in terms of, I mean, there's bigger plan, but day by day, I see what comes in, what the data's saying, and that kind of adapts what I'm telling the team, et cetera, et cetera. First thing is we want to get this full autonomous setup out and released,
Yeah,
um, and then being able to like almost gamify it and then provably demonstrate to the world that it's beating pretty much anything else. That's step one. Then one thing we'll also do is expand probably to other campaign types, both within Google, but also potentially other social media platforms, right? TBD. I don't reveal too much or say too much on that, but it's
yeah,
definitely quite possible in the pipeline. And then also there's the other stuff, right? Which is we focus on paid ads, right? Why not also focus on the organic side? So what you're talking about before, how can your business rank organically in the LLM response? But we obviously have a pretty good sense of how to do that. So why not help others do that too? Um, these are all possible avenues, but I think for now, uh, the job is, day by day and just keep growing that ad spend under management we have. I want to get it to probably 10 figures a month. I think that would be a good,
that would fairly
uh,
good.
yeah, that'd be good. But these things are actually a lot more possible than you think, because especially when we sign on a big agency, agencies themselves can manage 8 or 9 figures a month, right?
Yeah,
And if we're powering all of those agencies' campaigns, they're using grass in the background, then that's a big boost quite quickly. So, but again, day by day, my only North Star metric still remains what we're seeing in those dashboards. How are their campaigns performing versus
mm,
before they joined us? That's literally the only thing I care about. Obviously, there's a massive time saving element. I don't even care about that. It's like performance for me. Um,
excellent.
so yeah, that's what I would say.
But you're happy so far.
Happy. I think right now has been the busiest time ever. So there's definitely
Yeah,
some stress as well. There's good parts of the job. There's fun parts. When you have, big businesses reach out to me personally and say, David, like this is insane. We've just doubled budget. Thank you. That's great. And that will light up my day. But there's also all the other annoying stuff, right? Things going wrong, um, bad customers. One thing as well that happens, and that's tough, is that, and this only really happens with like new businesses, is they'll come to Grass and they'll say, okay, this looks great. I want to run Google Ads. But they don't have a proper business yet. Like the offer isn't there. So it's
okay.
very hard to then put almost lipstick on a pig, effectively,
Yeah.
and try run profitable ads, right,
Yeah.
for an offer that just can't convert. But that's actually another thing we're going to do is we're probably going to hire some people for helping out like brand new businesses, how
Yeah,
they can
exactly.
scale with Google Ads. That's, I think, a really interesting avenue. But yeah, for now, step by step, day by day.
You're going to be
we'll see how we
like a
get on.
consultancy firm as well now.
No, no. We don't want to go down that route. We definitely don't. But I think it's quite interesting. Like untapped.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot less, I think, money there, right? Because when someone is starting a new business, they just have less funds to deploy in Google Ads. But if we can do something to help grow
Yes.
businesses, I think that's also a good positive impact and quite nice, right? So I think for sure, something I think we'll explore.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I mean, I don't even feel the need to say best of luck with it. I have a feeling like it's gonna work. Everything you're gonna do is gonna work, dude. I really do.
We'll see.
Um,
Thank you.
I find you very impressive as an individual. I think your drive at your age is incredible. You're obviously very skilled. You're a great entrepreneur. So much respect. I think many of my listeners will get a little kick off this and go, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna do that. You know, you're gonna fuel people. So I do appreciate that.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, and hopefully we can speak again in the future.
Definitely. It was a real pleasure to be on. And hopefully we can run it back in a year or two and see if what I said came to light.
Let's do that, man. Let's do that. Sometimes when people say stuff like this to me, I go, right, I'll just pick a number of an episode in my mind and I'll stick with it. So yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna say episode 75. That is about that will give you about 9 or 10 months to get your shit together.
All right. Sounds good.
How's that?
Good. That sounds great. I'll be up for that.
David.
I'll be up for that.
Look, appreciate you coming on, mate. Have a good time and get back to work.
Thank you. Pleasure.
All right. Speak soon, mate.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.